Hello, folks. Today is October 14th, 2024, and I am Wemette. How you doing? Good to see a few of you. Temperoni, hello. Christina, hello. Catherine Guerrero, hello. Ben, how you doing, buddy? Mr. Nibbles, hello. Julie M, hello. How you doing? Everybody's checking in. Tracy, I didn't forget about you. Hello to you. Tommy Bridges, hello to you. And Dave, you did make it time. By the way, Dave, thank you for the email with the pictures of the Northern Lights. I really did enjoy it. Hello, Joe from Indianapolis. How you doing? At any rate, if you haven't been living underneath a rock, you probably know that Hurricane Milton was kind of a to-do for everybody. But before Milton was Hurricane Helene. And a couple of my friends that I met when I lived in Palm Beach, I moved up here, and they moved to Whittier, North Carolina. And I saw them on Facebook. And they actually were there in 2018 when we heard Hurricane Michael come through here. And I contacted them. It's like anybody you contact on Facebook. But recently, what happened was they were just starting to clean up from Helene. The water really got to them up there. They're not in Whittier anymore. They're in Ashville. Noel's father or uncle passed away and left them a house in Asheville. And they moved up to Asheville from Whittier in North Carolina. And they've been there for about 2 years now. It's after the pandemic. They moved up there. So I don't know, maybe it's about 18 months, 2 years. But they like it. It's a brick home. And it survived. But some of their neighbors didn't. And Nicole was vigilant about, she was very proud that Matt went outside and built a moat out in front of their house that would take most of the water away. But they have problems there now. And they're going to have problems. They don't have fuel. They don't have electricity. They don't have water. They don't have food. But they're surviving. And I posted on their page on Facebook that I really, I'm proud of them. But mostly the reason that I get a kick out of this is because I watched Matt in 2004. We had Hurricane Charlie and a bunch of hurricanes in Florida. And he was waiting in line with his Chevy Love truck. And he had all these gas cans in back, 5-gallon gas cans that I told him, can you carry these for me? And we went to the gas station, waiting in line, a long line. We were there for over an hour waiting to get gas. Matt was turning his truck off. Every time, we'd pull up a little bit, he turned the truck off. Then we started pushing his truck because it was lightweight and we could push it. But he didn't want to waste a drop of gas. We got out there, we filled all the tanks. Everybody's tank got filled. And we also filled the cans. And we survived that hurricane. When water cases came, I brought it to his uncle's house. I brought it to the rest of their family's house. I distributed water because I could. And Matt did too. Matt learned a lot. He was only, 18, 19 years old back then. And Nicole, she survived it. They were childhood sweethearts from high school. And they raised a couple kids, or they are raising a couple kids. They're up there in North Carolina now. And they're not doing much on Facebook because they're busy working. They're out there working every day. They don't have jobs to go to. There are no jobs to go to, but they have work to do every day. They're cleaning up and they're helping neighbors. They're borrowing chainsaws, trying to get gas. They're chopping trees up. They're doing everything they can. And I'm proud of them. I really am. They're survivors. And some of those people up there, they don't know anything about storms, but what they do know is how to survive. And they're pitching together. They're not waiting for a handout. They're not standing on the corner worried if somebody's going to help them with something. These are mountain people. These are salt of the earth people. You might want to call them hillbillies, or you might want to call them anything you want to call them. But what I call them is brave, because they do what most people can't, what the people in Sarasota are not doing. The ones that are laying down and saying, oh, I'm going back to New York. I'm going back to New Jersey. Oh, I'm going back to Indiana. I'm going to leave. I can't take this anymore. I got PSTD, post-traumatic stress syndrome, from all this. Well, hello, folks. You should have never come down here to begin with. Anyway, I'm proud of them. They're surviving well up there. Very proud of them. In the meantime, I decided that I would get on and do a show today. So now that I'm here and I've told you about Matthew Nicole and their friends that do post on their Facebook, I think her sister's up there too. But I'm feeling good, Frank. I'm feeling very good. Oh, you're asking Tracy. How are you feeling, Tracy? And Julie? Tracy's feeling much better. That's good. Well, that's great. After you get old for a while, or you get a case of the old, it's good to feel good. At least like you're on the winning end. That's enough, pup. Yeah, the colors are changing up there. They're not changing here. They're still green. I'm looking out the window and everything's bright and cheerful. As a matter of fact, what I'm going to do is, I think I'm going to. I'm going to put a little light on the situation. Dare I say his name, Julie? He's right here. He's doing good. He's got that look in his eye that says, I want to come up there. Sometimes he's got the devil on. He loves his ball. Tracy, you got a heart of gold. Okay, since everybody wants to see it, come here, Duke. Bring your ball with. Come on, come here. Come on, big guy. Say hi to the folks. Hi. No biting. No biting, no kicking, no scratching. Ow. You see, I don't let him up here like this. I'll do it for you folks, but I normally wouldn't let him up here. He is cute. Anyway, I saw an article in Mike Burns' room on Facebook, the Outfit Past and Present News articles, and it was about the death of Phil Alzaricio. And it brought back a lot of things in my mind. It really did. Hello, Dave and Wolfie. Yeah, Big Bow Wow. He doesn't bow wow. He screams. Very loud when he does talk. He's not a big talker. Anyway, I was looking at the article, and it brought me back in time. And I remember when Phil Alzaricio died, when he did die, and it was a major event at the time. I didn't take a lot of interest in it, but Irv Weiner was kind of his handyman, and he took care of all the arrangements. Phil was in jail. He'd been in Marion, and I didn't go to the funeral or the wake, but somebody posted a picture, and it was of Tony Accardo and Joey Ayupa that were there at the wake. It showed him sitting up on some flagstone or something on the side. Now, I know Tony Spilaccia was there, and I know Joey Lombardo was there. Joey took over the crew after he died, so he was next in line. Maybe that's where all the decisions were made, at his wake. I don't know, but I remember it stood out in my mind a lot. Yes, Tim, he was. Milwaukee Phil was a legend. He was a lot of things that people just didn't understand. They didn't understand. They haven't written history about him. They really haven't. The ones that have, they made it up. They really didn't talk about it. Chuck and Nicoletti, the English brothers, all that was part of that crew. And it all changed. It changed a lot. But then again, we're guaranteed one thing in life: change. It's going to be change. And fortunately, I've lived long enough to watch a lot of changes. And I'm watching them today. I'm watching them every day. The mob is gone. It's not missing from my mind, though. I remember things about it. And I try to tell you people things you want to know about it, about the Chicago outfit and the Chicago mob. It's just that other people are rewriting history, and it's different, very different. Because I remember it one way, and they're writing it another way by going through YouTube. And there's certain things I look up on the internet, and you have to be very careful how you word it, because it's not there. You got to look at the time, the date of what things happened, when. That's the way it was. But anyway, Matt Nicole, they don't care much about that. They're looking at today. And the stories I told them 20 years ago or more, now they're seeing that they were true. They didn't know that I lived the life I lived. I used to talk about, tell stories, different things. I never knew whether they believed me or not. I know they'd walk away with their heads, looking funny, cockeyed, and saying, maybe, they'd look different. Scott H., you don't like a lot of, I don't like a lot of it either. But Scott, I never liked it. The changes that happened in this country and that affected me, They weren't things that I liked. None of them. Not one. One of the things that I really got a kick out of recently was several people have been pointing out, when did this all really start? And to them, it started in 2008 with Obama. And as I'm looking back, that's when things really started to go downhill. It really did. We all got that device, that handheld device, and it started giving us information, some false, some accurate, but it was information. And it's an addiction, because once you have this, it's like you get up to see the time. You don't wear a watch anymore. I think I'm one of the few people that wear a watch. Everybody looks at me and says, why do you wear a watch? Not everybody, but everybody sees me with it. They say, oh, you wear a watch. Why? I look at my phone when I want to know what time it is. I look at my phone when I want to see where to go. I look at my phone when I want to see something, or I want to check something, fact check it. I look at my phone. So we have this handheld device. And this handheld device is running our lives. Most of you right out there now are on them watching me. That's how important they are. I'm not on one. I'm on a computer. I'm a little old. I'm a little old-fashioned. But I can still cut the mustard. I know what I'm doing. And that's more than I could say for a lot of people that I run across it or on YouTube. For those of you people, hello, Adam. How are you?
For you.
We're on the air, buddy.
Oh, are you right now?
Yeah, everybody can hear you.
Oh, nice. I just finished the mob tour.
How'd that go? That was what, 6 people?
Yeah, it was nice.
Oh, great.
Yeah, it was nice. What are you talking about today on the show?
Basically, I was talking about history and the hurricane, how it hit and affected my friends, Matt Nicole, that live up in Ashville, North Carolina. But I was talking about Phil Algericio and the changes that have happened in history, and the handheld devices and how they've changed our lives completely.
Oh, okay.
And I seem to have a lot of people that agree with me here.
Sounds like you're having an interesting show then. That's cool.
It is.
Very good, yes.
You want to join us?
I'm driving.
Oh, well, don't join us then.
Yeah, I can't. If I could, I would, but I don't want to fiddle with the thing while I'm driving. So, yeah. But hey, I'll let you do your show, and I'll give you a ring a little later.
All right, buddy. Thank you.
All right. Have a great day, everybody.
And that was Adam Flowers. Believe it or not, Duke, we know your name. Down. Jamaza. All right. The team is back together. Good to hear. Just slid into the show right now. Adam says hi to all of you. I don't know. There he is. He's driving right now. He just got finished with the tour. So he's headed on his way back. That's a good thing. But at any rate, so what do we want to talk about, folks? Adam asked me, what are you guys talking about? I decided at the last minute to talk about the hurricanes and the fact checking and other things. But also, I'll even put it in here since nobody's even asked me anything. I looked up all the other hurricanes channels that were on YouTube. And some of these people were talking about how it was going to be a a hurricane, category 5. Milton was going to be a category 4. Catastrophic. Going to wipe out the big cone. Headed for me. It was headed for, I mean, they had this cone so wide, and really it was kind of narrow. And it was only a 3. But they made it sound terrible. 125 mile an hour winds. And there was a lot of destruction. But guess what? Most of that destruction was from barrier islands. And barrier islands are reefs. Yeah, these are big sandbars that were formed 100 years ago that they decided to build houses on because they looked exotic. They looked great. They looked wonderful. And people from up north, they bought them like crazy. People that lived down here in Florida, they didn't go near them. The only time they went on the islands was to fish. So we did what we did. Those islands got wiped out really bad. They took a beating, very bad beating in this storm. They're going to call it the 100-year storm. And we'll probably talk about it for another 10, 15 years and forget about it because we have more important things on that handheld device. Okay. Tracy, we got a great team here. Yeah, we do. Was Rex Ryan a part of organized crime? I don't know. I didn't need anything about Rex Ryan. Don't know who he was. So, read somewhere where he was mobbed up. Okay. There were a lot of people mobbed up. You might say I was mobbed up. Does anybody have any questions today? We have time. Anything I can answer, or maybe I can answer. It's not a Q&A. Adam, we should do a Q&A soon. If you're still listening, which I think you are. There's a lot of people out there that have Adamitis. They'd like to see us doing the show again. Anywho. Do we have any questions, folks? If you don't, I'm going to say thank you very much for stopping by. We have one question from Tim Peroni. Milwaukee Phil and Chuck Nicoletti involved in a lot of illegal businesses. Yes, they were. They were. They were involved in all kinds of stuff. Mr. Nibbles, what mob death affected you the most? Tony Spilaccio. No doubt in my mind about that. I was just talking about the other day to a friend who didn't understand it at all. About if Schweiss would have told me that somebody popped him in the back of the head or something like that, I probably wouldn't have felt so bad about it at the time because it was part of doing business. It could happen. And it could always happen to anybody. It could have happened to me if I did something to offend people. And he offended a lot of people. But I have to say this very seriously. I didn't like the way he died. I mean, he just had open heart surgery. He was in bad shape. He didn't need a beat down. It just should have been that way. You're right. They never had to torture him. They just did. And there's a lot of people that I blame for that. No, I didn't have any contact with Russell Buffalino or any part of that faction at all. Hey, Lonnie, how you doing? Chicago, smoke like a Bears won. Bears are bears. It was awful. And the way it was described to me was awful. It was Frank Schweiss that described it to me. And I won't even tell you his opinion at the time. I can't really say it on here. It's not right to say it on here. But at the time, he actually saw his brother Michael being killed, and he was at the top of the steps, and very solemnly and seriously, he knew his time was up. He asked to say a prayer for his brother, who was beaten to death, garroted right in front of him. And the response was a kick to the head and down the stairs, and more kicks and more kicks and more kicks. And that's the way it was. So I don't know. I never took to it. I couldn't understand why it was done that way. Tim Peroni, you hear a lot of things. You heard they weren't totally dead. I heard the same. I didn't hear the same thing. I heard there were several teams that that autopsied the bodies, and the one thing that got to me was there was dirt in their lungs, and they didn't swallow dirt. And the only way I know of to get dirt in the lungs is have air. So that was what was there. And hey, Jim, how you doing? You're not late. You're here. Thank you. Stoner Boy, how you doing, buddy? I think it was you that I was talking to about Tony and how he was murdered. You heard about the lungs? Yeah, I did too. And there's arguments that say, no, they were dead. Sand in the lungs. I heard dust. But even the agents that I talked to at the time, and they knew who did that, and they didn't even prosecute it until 2007 in Family Secrets. Stoner Boy, to be honest, I could be doing a lot better today, but you know what? It's all right. Everything's going to work out in the end. That's the way I look at it, Stoner Boy. It's all right because everything's going to work out in the end. You thought the property was the cornfield where they were buried was adjacent to one of Joey Yupa's. It was. It used to be next to it. The wooded area used to be the Hunt Club. But it was all woods and it had roots. And they didn't want to dig in the night over there. And the roots were hard to dig in with shovels by hand. So what they did was they walked out in the farmer's cornfield. Nice, fertile land, easy to dig up. And they dug a shallow grave. And they put both bodies in the grave. Tony was on top of Michael, kind of mangled together. And it wasn't a 6-foot deep grave. It was a shallow grave. So it kind of left a little bit of a mound. How you doing, crowd? I'm doing okay. I'm doing pretty good. I was looking at your junk car, that's your model junk car that you're doing, and it's very interesting, Bill. Yeah, there's a lot of things that just happen in life that we don't like. I do believe that it was inhaled. The dirt and dust was inhaled. That's what I believe. But like I said, there's a lot of history buffs that are running around saying, well, it couldn't have been this. I heard this. I heard that. I heard this. I could do. Yeah, a lot of people say a lot of things. Were they there back in 1986? Were they watching the news? Or was the news accurate? Or which version of the news did they get? Or did they actually look at the autopsy reports? It was a whole different ballgame back then. Temperoni, they had to come back to Chicago. There was no place to run. Kind of. That's the way it went. Frank Ferraro, those that know are no longer here. Yeah, the survivors write history. And you'd be surprised the people that think they know because they've read one or two articles. And that's the way it was. Mr. Nibbles, the only way to get dirt in your lungs is to inhale it, as far as I know. That's what I said. That's what I said. I mean, if it was in the mouth or sand, that's sandy dirt up there. But that's the way I looked at it. I looked at the only way to do it was inhale it. Bad way to die. But who knows? They might have been totally unconscious. They might have been comatose at the time. I don't think they were feeling anything. If they were, they weren't struggling. That's for sure. Anyway, that's the way it was. Can't change it. Bill Kirschmeyer, the Crouch. Thanks, Red. That was a model I named, a derelict. Won a People's Choice Award at my club show this past weekend. I'm glad to hear that. It really does look like a derelict. It looks like you got it out of a junkyard, but yet it's a model. Bill does model cars. He did a nice one for me of my old GTO. Very nice one. Thank you, Bill. Yeah, that is the problem, Frank Furrow. The rumors. Also AI. AI is a real killer because people like myself will go and give certain information to AI and they'll be too lazy and they won't do the show. They'll just put up some pictures and have AI speak whatever it finds on the internet. And some of it may be inaccurate. Some of it is accurate, but it's not a real story that's factual. Neighborhoods were safer back in the 60s and 70s. They were safer in the 90s than they are now. I mean, they were a lot safer. Think about it, Tim. In the 90s, it wasn't like this. It's gotten crazier. And I think it's going to get crazier than it is now. Frank Ferraro. Kraut did that when I was a kid and loved it. I think you're talking about his model cars. And he really does enjoy it. It's relaxing. It's a good thing. Anyway, folks, I want to thank you all for stopping by. And I'll be seeing you again. It's not my last show, that's for sure. Until then, everyone. I love that. The crowd says, Frank, I'm still a kid. I'm just 66-year-old kid. Okay. I love it, guy. Thank you, buddy. Mr. Nibbles, as always, thanks for having us. Dave and Wolfie, bye, guys. Christine Morris, goodbye to you. Bye to everyone. My love to all of you. And it's Red Wemette. Out.
The combination of the videotapes and Wemette's testimony resulted in the conviction of 2 men on extortion charges. One of them was Frank Schweiz, known in syndicate circles as the German, a feared mob terrorist and a suspect in a number of gangland murders.
He was described to me by other outfit individuals as the most feared hitman. And as he said to me, my reputation precedes me, son.